Yeah, the crazy thing is that at least domestically, we could fix so many ecological issues just by scaling back meat farming. How much water goes to cattle? Cow drinking water is like 2% of our total water, but the real water use when it comes to meat farming is the water we use to raise the crops we feed the cows. Agriculture accounts for 92% of humanity's freshwater footprint across the planet. Almost 75% of the decline in water levels can be attributed to cattle feed irrigation. It takes a lot of water to make a double cheeseburger. One calculation puts it at 450 gallons per quarter pounder. There it is. Across the U.S., cattle feed crops, which end up as beef and dairy products, account for 23% of all water consumption, according to the report. And it's so we can raise a bunch of, like, wheat or fucking whatever we feed them, grain, to feed the cows. And then we eat the cows, because that's very, like, energy inefficient. Bruh, cattle can be raised on marginal land that can't be farmed, and regenerative agriculture can restore decertified land to being suitable for growing on. It's the feedlots that suck. No, because even if the cattle are being raised on that land, the crops to feed them are being raised on agriculturally viable land, and we use a fuck ton of water on that. We got to do it again. We're going to show the graph again. Guys, we all know what graph I'm about to show, right? Which map? We all know what I'm looking for. Yep, my favorite map in the world. Cow pasture and range, sheep, goats, other horses. Right here. Big old square in the middle. Livestock feed right over here. Now, everything that we use for livestock feed could be feeding humans. Now, you might notice the livestock feed section is larger than our feed exports down here. So, the livestock feed, I mean, you got ethanol. Oh, there's the Gulf chunk that I'm blocking. See the Gulf chunk? The red in the top right is the human land where we live. Urban housing, urban commercial, rural housing, idle, fallow, food we eat. Food we eat right here, yeah. So the livestock feed is like twice the section of the food we eat. So that's cool. And also, I do not believe that all of this cow pasture range land is useless were it not for the pasture/range. Like, I know that a lot of this land is not exactly prime agricultural territory or whatever, but I'm pretty sure better use could be made of this land if we were to scale back the extent of our meat farming. Ban golf and lawns, that would be enough. That would be nice. Yes, this is just a map showing what land is used for in America. What's the significance of the 100 largest landowning families being separate from everyone else there? Oh, just to help you hate the rich a little bit. Why not? What's the solution to all of this? Do we simply roll over and die? I mean, we could do that. We could consume less meat. I think veganism and vegetarianism would catch on faster if their food wasn't advertised to replace meats. I agree completely. Vegan food should stop trying to be like, hey, look, it's going to be as good as meat. Because it's not. You can't do meat better than meat. Make good vegan food. There's good vegan food. It's not like there's not good vegan food. But stop trying to, like, stop setting yourself up to be compared to a fucking greasy cheeseburger, okay? Just make good vegan food. This is like such an American brain thing where it's like, well, how do we sell people on vegan food? Well, let's sell it to them as like a triple price, less tasty cheeseburger. Like, fuck that. No. Stop researching tech into producing infinitely less efficient, more expensive, whatever vegan, you know, substitutes for meat. Just make good vegan food. The problem is that, like, Americans eat a fuck ton of meat, so we don't have a good understanding of how to have a balanced diet outside of it. How do you feel about lab-grown meat? I mean, sure, whatever, give it a try. I don't think that fixes the energy and efficiency issue, though. What I want to know is how we go about advocating for this. Well, we have a fuck ton of subsidies on the meat industry and on corn and stuff like that. We would just need to get rid of those, and then meat would rise to a, like, market equilibrium price. Like, meat is artificially cheap right now in the United States. It's like the government spends billions subsidizing the cost of meat production to keep it cheap. In reality, the whole, like, go down to a fast food place and get, like, a burger for $2, that was never economically sensible, like, at any point. Meat was a luxury for most of human history because it is literally energy inefficient. It should never be cheaper to get meat than it would be to get, like, 10 times the amount of calories in beans or whatever. Yet for some reason, you can get, like, a shitty burger for, like, $2 or whatever. But if you want to get, like, 10 cans of beans, that's $10. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm generalizing here. Obviously, the math doesn't work out quite that cleanly, and you have to account for the can or whatever. But yeah, you know, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's cringe. It's dumb. That's what I'm saying. People would unironically hate the president who scaled back the meat industry. Yeah, well, it would just be ending subsidies, okay? We can just transition to other animals like chicken. Yeah, that doesn't really solve the ethical issue, but yes, chicken are significantly more efficient on like a water and everything else level. Yeah. Meat requires less labor than growing vegetables. Meat utilizes fewer laborers. Good. Then we get good American jobs growing vegetables or whatever. Yeah, stop government handouts. Are you a vegetarian? Nope. You can't say that meat requires less labor than vegetables because you still have to raise the vegetables to raise meat. Well, we give them grain, but yes. Yeah, point taken. Vaush, we literally employ slave migrant labor to grow vegetables. The meat industry jobs are high paying. Kowalski from Nebraska, you're unironically being small brain right now. The idea, like, the idea that we can't do anything about this, even though the livestock have to be fed this, is because people in meat factories get high paying jobs. Like, it's like a nothing, right? Like, we could do a million things there. There are a million things we could do to fix the conditions concerning people who pick our food. This little Kansas-sized chunk right here. Saying we need to scale back meat is not a small brain solution. It's just something we have to do, Kowalski from Nebraska. Obviously, there'd be a lot of downstream effects that we'd have to account for with different policies, but that doesn't change the fact that that's a necessary part of the policy. There's unethical labor use like at pretty much every stage of this. It would still be a staple food, even scaled back. I mean, maybe? Like, I mean, I guess that depends, like, culturally what kind of shift we see. I don't know. This will never happen even if it needs to. We'll see. It might eventually no longer be possible to water all those crops, you know. Vaush, as soon as you bring up scaling back meat, chat forgets how drastic the water level was like 10 minutes ago. Yeah, it's like we're like about to run out of water in the entire country or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, people are never going to scale back meat use. All right, well, if it's literally a matter of what they're going, like, if we run out of water, like, eventually there is a breaking point, you know? At least Saudi Arabia will collapse faster. Yeah, I suppose. Yes, golf should also be illegal. I would much rather give up lawns and golf before meat. Yeah, okay, I don't know. I feel like chat gets weird every time this comes up. I feel like there's a set of very cosmopolitan answers, or people feel very detached from this. This isn't a matter of, like, which, like, points do we trade off in a policy board, you know? Like, all of these changes are going to happen, painfully or painlessly. You know, like, the fact that the current system is unsustainable necessarily means that at some point sustainability will be forced on us by circumstance. It's really just a matter of what our priorities are when we reach that point. But every time this comes up, I feel like a bunch of people feel like this is up for debate or whatever. Like, no American president is actually going to do any of this shit ahead of time because either they're bought and sold already, or it's just too unpopular or too unviable. But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It's still going to happen, you know? We're still going to have to deal with it. I mean, the chips will fall, you know, however it ends up happening, I suppose. The most control we can be said to have is over the particulars of how we respond to those issues. I don't know. It's not a pick and choose kind of dynamic. I don't understand why the fuck there are people in chat arguing about that. I don't know. You guys realize that your lives would not change that much in a world without meat, right? I understand, like, a vegan world because butter and milk legitimately make up the basis of a ton of stuff. But there are, like, listen, I've eaten plenty of, like, steak and burgers. It's not like I'm operating from some, like, lack of understanding, okay? Eating vegetarian is not that difficult. Genuinely, it's not. Vegan is pretty tough. Vegetarian is not that difficult. If all these, like, if there was some big, like, mandate from God, or, like, the president slammed a stamp down or whatever, and no more meat being eaten whatsoever, which is never going to happen, but if it did happen, like, I genuinely, I don't think that, like, food culture would change that much. I really don't. I genuinely do not. I don't. I think the main problem also is that we live in a culture where nobody knows how to cook. So a bunch of people's, like, only reprieve from their depressing 60-hour-a-day work week is the, like, specific kind of frozen meat meal that they like. And then it's like, oh, you want to take that away too, you fucking commies or whatever? But then it's like, man, if you knew anything about cooking and you just had some basic spices and, like, tortillas and beans and cheese, like, you can make something 20 times better than whatever the fuck you're obsessed with.